Hi everyone, back at Mom's Lanai. It's been a beautiful day in Florida, and so I'm ready now to dive right into chapter 14. Really long chapter, so I think I'm going to split it. I might even have to split it into 3 parts for us. Remember now, this is from Peter's perspective. Remember that Vola gave him 3 conditions. She would help him if 1, he wrote a letter to his grandfather. 2, he explained to her the background of the bracelet, and 3, would help her out. And I believe in this chapter, he's going to explain the significance of the bracelet. So let's dive in. And Peter recognized Vola's footsteps, the hard wooden stamp followed by the softer shoe footfall, and dropped the logs back into the wood bin. He braced himself in the cabin door, watching Vola pump water into the kitchen sink. "You stayed off that foot?" "Pretty much." Actually, he'd gotten up at least a dozen times to do pull-ups on a beam, and he lifted logs for half an hour. His arms were sore and his foot hurt a lot when it wasn't raised, but he hadn't been able to lie around doing nothing, knowing Pax was still out there. Vola began lathering up her hands without turning around. "You write that note?" Peter pulled the crutches to his sides. Already he felt more secure when they were tucked under his arms. "I did, but..." "No buts. You write once a week. The bus driver friend I told you about, Robert Johnson, I asked him. He'll mail them from different spots along his route. First condition, remember?" Peter tried a sharp turn, wobbling, but righted himself. He swung through another turn, smoother. "All right. Okay. Good." Vola hung the dish towel on its peg, crossed to the fireplace, and began shredding newspaper into the grate. "Let's move to the second condition, then. That charm bracelet you carry. I'm guessing it was your mother's. Why do you carry it with you? Why that particular thing?" Peter felt his body go instantly rigid, the way it always did whenever anyone asked about his mother, as if it had to freeze to decide whether it was okay to talk about her or not. Usually with strangers, it wasn't. So he was surprised when his hands relaxed their grip on the crutches a little and his throat eased open. "She always wore it. She'd hold her wrist up so I could play with it when I was a baby. I don't remember that, but I've seen a picture. I do remember her telling me about it, though. About the charm, I mean. It's a phoenix. That's a special bird. It's red and gold and purple, colored like sunrise, and it rises from the ashes. I know what a phoenix is." "Right, but out of its own ashes. That's the part my mom cared about." "Its own ashes?" "When it gets worn out, it builds itself a nest high in a tree away from everything." Peter stopped. It suddenly occurred to him that Vola's cabin felt like a nest. He circled on the crutches to look around. Yes, a secret protected nest surrounded by trees, away from everything. He turned back to Vola, who was cross-stacking kindling. He hoped she hadn't read his mind. "So the phoenix fills the nest with its favorite stuff. Myrrh and cinnamon is what's in the story, I think. Then the nest ignites, burning the bird's old body, and the new bird rises up out of the old bird's ashes. My mother loved that. She said it meant that no matter how bad things got, we could always make ourselves new again." Wow, what a great thought, right? No matter what, no matter what we go through or how bad things get, we can always make ourselves new again. Vola didn't respond. She touched a match to the shredded paper and watched as it caught fire. Her face looked grim in the light of the new flames. She added 2 logs and then a third. "Go try those crutches outside while there's still some light," she said without looking up. Peter opened the front door and navigated the step, relieved to get away. He didn't have a clue what he had said wrong. Living in the woods all alone probably made a person weird. But she was right that he needed to practice outside. He lost a whole day now, a whole day. Maybe he did need some time to train and heal, but he was leaving as soon as he could. He left the cleared yard and headed to where the uneven ground was snarled with roots and brush. It took a tortuously long time to circle the cabin. His second turn around was a little faster, and by the fifth circuit he felt almost comfortable. But he was bathed in sweat when he swung back inside. The cabin was quiet, except for gentle crackling of the fire. Vola sat in an armchair, sewing something yellow. The quiet and the way the setting sun seemed to wash the cabin in peace, as if everything were right with the world, suddenly felt mocking to Peter. Everything was wrong with the world. Another day had passed. Pax had been out there alone. Another night was coming when he would be cold, probably hungry and scared too. And what if he hadn't found water? He took a lurching swing across the room. Halfway across, one crutch caught on a rug, and he had to stab the other into the wall to keep from crashing into the lantern. Shorter steps. You'll get the hang of them after a while. After a while? My fox will be dead in a while. He dropped the crutches and sank to the chair at the kitchen table. What's the point anyway? How is this supposed to work out? Vola dropped her sewing. What do I look like, a magic 8-ball? She went out to the porch and came back with a bag of ice. Then she lifted Peter's foot to a chair and arranged the ice over it. I don't have your answers. The sight of his useless foot reminded him of everything he couldn't do now. He looked away. Why not? Aren't you supposed to be wise and all? Living out here by yourself with all these... He threw his thumb toward the jumble of notes tacked on the board behind him. All these philosophy bingo cards? You're supposed to be wise, at least, aren't you? Or witchy or something. Peter almost didn't recognize himself back-talking the woman like this. He felt as if he were short-circuiting, as if his impulses were leaping directly out of him without passing through his brain. But once again, he wasn't where he should be, and now his foot was too wrecked to get him there, and Pax was still out there alone. So this short-circuiting that he's talking about, he's anxious, he's worried. And it's causing him to behave in a way in which he would never behave, like talking back to her, even though she's the one that's helping him, right? Vola pulled a bucket from a cupboard and set it in the sink. Philosophy bingo cards. She looked only mildly insulted. I'm trying to figure out my own life. I don't have your answers. So who does? And don't say my father, because he's a little absent these days. And because he caused all of this. Peter hardened his jaw against saying the words and forced himself to breathe slowly. He wasn't angry. He was just frustrated. Anyone would be. Sudden tears threatened. What was wrong with him lately? And he knuckled his eyes. Vola started over towards him and then seemed to change her mind. She backed away to lean against the kitchen counter. You are angry, she said simply, as if she were noting he had dark hair or the sun was going down. I'm not angry. But he forced his fists open and counted 10 slow breaths, fighting it the way he always did. Because what if he was like his father, with that threatening kind of anger, the kind that was always simmering, the kind that could boil over at any time and hurt everyone in the way? The apologies afterward never healed the damage. He squeezed his eyes shut against the tears still crowning. I'm not angry. It's just that I didn't choose it. I didn't choose for there to be a war. I didn't choose for my father to join up. And I didn't choose to leave my home. I didn't choose to go to my grandfather's. And I sure didn't choose to abandon an animal I took care of for 5 years. You're a kid. You don't get a lot of choices. I'd be angry too. Real, diable man angry. I told you, I'm not angry. Peter gulped in a sob that somehow escaped as a twisted laugh. He was short-circuiting again. And you're in love with that word, you know? What are you talking about, boy? Diable man. What is it, a swear? You're in love with that word, diable man. His wiring felt totally fried. If we were in second grade, I'd tell you you're so in love with that word you should marry it. She squawked, a loud crow's caw. But you're right, she said. I should get down on one diable man ruined knee and ask that word to marry me. You should, Peter agreed, kind of hysterical now. You should put a diable man ring on its diable man finger. He wiped his face off and watched Vola as she came over and took a seat across from him. My grandfather swore in his first language. It drove my grandmother crazy because she didn't speak it. but she sang in Italian when she cooked, so Vola lifted a finger to stroke the feathers bunched at her throat. I carry many traits, she said quietly. And then she went silent for a while, holding his gaze the whole time. In their silence, Peter felt they were saying something important, something about the long, dark tunnel he felt narrowing in around him. I was counting on finding Pax in a week, maybe 10 days. He looked down at his foot. But now, Pax? That's his name? It means peace, you know. Peter knew that lots of people had told him. But that's not why I named him. First day I brought him home, I left him for a minute, just a minute, so I could get him some food. And when I got back, I couldn't find him. He had crawled in my backpack and fallen asleep. It had the word Paxton sewn on the label. I was 7 then, and I figured Paxton? That's a good name. It had an X in it, like Fox, you know. But now what? Now he's all alone because of a war. I let him go because of a war. War, not peace. What's that called? Irony? Whatever, now it's a terrible name. He'll probably die because of a war. Maybe yes, maybe no. He could survive. It's spring. Plenty of food, I think. Peter shook his head. Foxes teach their kits to hunt when they're about 8 weeks old. I found him way before that. He was maybe 2 weeks old. The vet figured he could run across a dozen mice sitting up on little plates, and he probably couldn't catch them. All he's ever had is kibble and scraps. I'd let him swipe. What kind of scraps? Anything he'd find out there? Peter shrugged. He's crazy for peanut butter. And we're going to stop there. So he did explain the bracelet. It's the rising of the phoenix through the ashes. What a great symbolic story, right? Life lesson there. He is, I guess, writing those letters, and they're going to deliver it to his grandfather, so he knows that he's okay. And then there's the third one that's left, that she needs some help. But he's starting to panic big time because, you know, Pax is out there, doesn't know how to hunt. He said, I hope he's found water. We know that he's had some help in surviving, but of course Peter doesn't know that. All right, my friends, that is going to be it for chapter 14, part 1, and I will post part 2 tomorrow. Have a great night.